Magandang hapon mga kababayan, kayo po ay nanonood ng kauna-unahan at kaisa-isang pang-araw-araw na produksyon para sa ating mga kababayan dito sa Amerika. Ito po ang Kababayan Today at ako naman po si Janelle So, ang inyong kababayan dito sa Los Angeles. At gaya ng nasabi ko kanina, this afternoon on the program, get ready to meet two inspiring individuals. One is an actor from Orange County, a kababayan actor who wants to spread hope through drag. And he's also going to be challenging our notions of being a drag queen and what they look like. But before that, get ready to meet this one also very inspiring individual who's doing great things for the Philippines and for the Filipinos, and he's not even Filipino. He was a bus driver in London, still is, and but he exchanged that for a period of time to drive Sarao Jeepneys in the Philippines. Talking to us about his experience today and his passion for helping the Filipinos. Josh West is joining us from London. Hello and welcome to Kababayan Today.
Hi, how are you, Janelle?
Thanks. Just to put things in perspective, first of all, thank you for joining us today. Okay, so what made the shift? What brought you to Manila driving jeepneys from driving buses in London?
What happened was the BBC put a nationwide campaign to find a bus driver who's willing to take a trip abroad and do the life of another bus driver in another country. They picked Manila. I hadn't heard about it until about a month before when a friend of mine told me about it and said I'd be perfect for it. It took a little bit of persuading from my wife, and then I actually entered and went through the application system. And I entered quite late, sort of like a month before, and through the application I found out there was over 480 people had applied for it. And I was lucky enough to go through all the applications and jump the queue to number one. And then next thing I know, a month later, I was flying out to Manila.
And this was included in the BBC documentary, Toughest Place to Be. So toughest place to be a bus driver in Manila, Philippines. Do you agree? How long were you there for?
The first time I was only there for 13 days, so it was really, really quick. We flew in and we was filming the same day. So I didn't get to see a lot of the Philippines, but I saw a varied amount of the Philippines, if you understand what I mean. It's one of the best experiences I've ever had.
You had a brand new red double-decker bus in London, and you exchanged that, you left that in the garage, to drive a jeepney that was designed in the 1940s with no power steering, no air conditioning, and it's just dodgy lights as well. What was that experience like for you? Did you expect to find something like that? Did you expect worse, or did you...
I didn't expect anything because one thing the BBC asked me to do was not research the Philippines. So I went there with completely blank slate. I didn't know what to expect at all. So when I got there and Rogelio showed me his Jeepney for the very first time, the shock in my face was absolutely natural. I just couldn't believe I was going to drive a vehicle that looked so old and so run down. My opinion on the vehicle at that time was like, it's a death trap. Later I found out that supports a family and it became a valid member of the team opposed to a death trap. The funniest thing I found about the vehicle was that it had no handbrake, and driving the bus, you use your handbrake so many times in London that, you know, you rely on it, and then you found that there wasn't one. So I was missing my handbrake.
Yes, and also I have experience driving in the Philippines. They also don't really respect traffic laws there, as I'm sure you already know. It's like driving in a video game.
Yeah, it's very much so. But what I found was the more I drive, and more I listen to the beeps and toots of the different cars and how they position themselves, you could kind of guess as to what they wanted to do.
Right.
And then, you know, after a while it became familiar. I mean, for me, it's a little bit more difficult because we drive on the other side of the road in London as well, so I have to take that into consideration. And also the jeepney's on the other side of the car as well, yes. So that was a little bit more difficult as well.
Yeah, left-hand drive in the Philippines, right-hand drive in London. Did you get into any accidents?
No, unfortunately I didn't. I was lucky enough not to hit anybody, but someone did hit me,
oh, no.
And I was mortified by that. It was only a trike, so it wasn't so bad. And he hit the outside spare wheel, but I wish he would have come off a lot worse than I would have, or the Jeepney would have. But that was about the only accident we had. Unfortunately for me, it didn't get shown on the program.
Right. What you did get to do, though, was you got very close to your host driver, Rogelio, and his family. You mentioned that earlier. What were some of the realizations that you drew from that experience, some of the most memorable experience?
The thing what drew me to Rogelio in the very first place is the way he was so humble and so welcoming. He was, prepared to give me half of what he has, and he doesn't have as much as I do back in London. That was the first shocking thing. And then when I kept speaking to him, I realized that his lifestyle and his values in life are very similar to mine. And the family were just so warm and welcoming, which made me feel at ease and feel that I could let my guard down because, you go into a strange country, you meet strange people, you'd think that, there might be something dodgy behind it, but there was pure as gold, and that is what really caught me first, and that's what made me absorb into the Filipino way of living.
And this was in 2011?
I flew out in 2010, November, and the program went to air on 2011.
And years after, it's now 2013, you are still connected, in fact, very, very passionate about helping with some advocacies in the Philippines. We're going to be talking about that when we return on the program. We have to pause for a few reminders, but Josh, stay with us. And for the viewers, we'll hear more from Josh later when we return. Don't go away.